Dear viewer, and welcome to our program. And today we're privileged to have a guest in our studio, and we're going to discuss about the financial bill that was passed in the Parliament the previous day by the members of Parliament. I'm your host, Morgan Manzana. Welcome our dear guests to our show. Would you mind introducing yourself to our viewers?
Well, thank you so much, Evans, and I appreciate for the time being here this afternoon.
Thank you, Evans, for joining us at our studio. Today, without wasting time, we are moving on to our first question. Following the finance bill that was passed the other day by the members of parliament on the increase of VAT on fuel from 8% to 16%, it has raised eyebrows from many Kenyans. It has brought out reactions. What's your take on that, Eve?
On the finance bill, the clause of the fuel being raised, the VAT from 8% to 16%. Maybe at this time, it wasn't actually the best shot, in my opinion, because we are looking at the situation as it is, the economic situation of the electorate, who are apparently the taxpayers. So maybe the parliamentarians would have taken their time maybe to push it to such a time when everything is now okay, and even if the VAT shall have been increased, maybe the citizens won't have to complain that the timing was bad, because we're looking at because if this fuel VAT has been increased from 3 to 16%, it means that it's going to impact on a lot on the already strained citizens. If you look at the price of unga now, if the fuel is up, the price of unga will go up, the prices of basic commodities will generally go up. And when the prices of these basic commodities go up, it will add more strain, it will add more pressure to the general population who are already strained. The income is stagnant. Some maybe you survive on 1 meal a day. So it wasn't really the right time for the VAT to be increased. I mean, VAT on fuel to be increased from 8 to 16%.
I'm sorry to interrupt. You're saying maybe they could have waited for the right time. And when is this right time, do you think?
The right time here will simply mean that when the situation, the cost of living shall have been actually manageable. Let me say manageable, not going down, but manageable even to the common mwananchi. Because if you look at that person who goes to Jengo, is going to pay that tax through buying that fuel and maybe buying a packet of flour, which has already been, which is not exempted from taxes. So this is going to put a lot of strain.
Oh, thank you. And on to another question, but relating to what we're discussing, there is this housing levy, the 3% on the people employed by the government. What's your take? Are you affected?
In one way or another, I can say I'm not affected for now. I'm not affected for now. But on the other hand, I have to say that it's going to affect me. So generally, what I always know in each and every presidential campaigns, leaders come up with their own strategies to get the votes. But you remember during the campaign trail, the house levy was not part of the agenda in all the manifesto during this leaders' campaign period. So when this is now being imposed, I say imposed because it's being forced down on the throats of the employers and the throats of the employees. If you look at the tone at which the leaders are saying that you have to, whether you like it or not, you're going to pay. And it's really raising a lot of suspicion, given that, this fund ought to have had a committee that sits down that is going to manage it. But you find out that the committee has not been set up. So who is going to manage these funds? Secondly, those people who are supposed, the government ought to have come up with a plan to use its money, make these houses and sell them as mortgage to those people who want these houses. Because you realize that that person who earns 20,000, are you sure? And any other person, are they sure that at the end of it all, you are going to have this house? What is the surety? Because the latest turn of events is that this money is being deducted, but it's not going to be refunded back to you. So where is it going to?
That's the question we remain asking ourselves. But do you think that the houses that are going to be built will create employment for the youth?
It will create employment, but these are short-term employments, which is only going to mitigate for a short period of time. Just like any ordinary house construction, it can never be built for 100 years, maybe for a few months and then it's ended. What will happen next after that? Is the government going to be building houses from morning to evening, January to December? So we also need to factor in that. So for now, I can say it's a temporary job creation plan.
Well, not each and every Kenyan youth is either doing a mercenary course or a plumber, So what of the others who are not taking such courses?
Well, according to the government, it's believed that everybody will have a role to play. If you're not in any of the technical skills, then carry that block doesn't need skills. It only needs your energy for you to carry it maybe from one place to another. So it's not a must that you have the skills.
Thank you, Evans, for having joined us at the studio. We're privileged to have you today, and that's all we had today. I've been your host, Morvin Nanjani.